Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we can finally take a look at the Dark Advent Undeaddress Isis kit, and this is going to be the DX version that we're going to be taking a look at here in today's review. There's also a standard version available, but let's go ahead and get right into the DX set Isis. Alright guys, so let's start off taking a look at the box, and then we'll get into all of the contents here, but some really cool artwork here on the front. The artwork is different between the regular version and the DX version, so that's something to point out right away. But the illustration here on the front looks very cool. I really love the design of the character for this one, so I'm really looking forward to this kit. But as you can see here, the box is in a kind of matte finish. So it's not like that mixed finish matte with the image and glossy like you see on some other Mecha Musume kits. It's just all matte finish here for the box art, but it looks really nice. Skytube non-scale plastic model kit number 03, DX version here in collaboration with AlphaMax. Of course, let's take a look here. On the side of the box, just kind of the same image there, just rearranged slightly differently. On the bottom of the box here, you can see what the fully painted version of the kit is going to look like. The character there with the kind of mummy dude. I'm not really too keen on like the robot aspect of this. It's kind of weird, but it can like fold up into like this big cross, or there's another name for that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But you got to look at some different things that you can do with this, using like the kind of arms mounted on those kind of connection parts behind her like that. And then over here, a look at the kit completely unpainted, just built up straight out of the box. It's gonna look like that. On the other side here is a look at all of our face option parts. You've got 5 different ones and then a blank one. And for the mummy dude, you've got some different options here, including one that uses an LED to light up the eyes. So that's pretty cool. A kissy face as well. And you got some really kind of cool expressive faces there for that. Here's a look at the water slide decals that you'll have for that as well. And with that, we can go ahead and crack open this quite large box. So again, this is the DX version, so the box is going to be a little bit larger as well than the standard version. Is probably a little bit not quite as deep. There will be a lot of stuff in here. I just want to take a look at the manual first, if we can find that. I know in past versions of the kits, basically if you had the DX version, all the DX parts were just packed in like a separate bag that you can tell was like just added in at the top. It doesn't seem to be the case with this one. Looks to be that all the DX parts are just kind of mixed in there with everything else. But here's a look at the manual there. The front, just the same artwork we saw on the front. Nice line art of the character there. On the back side, on the inside here is our parts list, all there in color, showing you the grayed out parts are going to be obviously parts you're not going to use for this, so these are going to be probably recycled from the first 2 kits, one of the first 2 kits anyway. There's a couple of those as well. So getting into the construction, it looks like all of the construction is also going to be in color, which is pretty nice. So everything is in color, showing you how to put everything together. And I'm guessing the manual is going to be different from the standard version as well, because it does say DX version here on the front, and in the middle, in like some of the pages, it shows you like how to use like some of the DX parts. So the manual itself is also probably going to be slightly different between the 2 versions, but here's the color guide here at the back, some reference images there for that, and the decals as well there for the face and around on the characters. Lots of these like little color decals that you can use on there. Pretty interesting. And on that note, let's just take a quick look at the decals here. So there's a bunch of different ones there for the eyes and other like mouth parts for the face, like blushing cheeks there. And you also got, these are going to be really hard to see, but those ones in white are like for like little like sweat drops or whatever, and some like kind of angry or different face kind of expression decals there. And your decal set B here, like I said, is going to be all the blue and green little details that are going to go around on different parts of the kit there. So you got a bunch of decals for that. Strangely, for whatever reason, you got a couple of runners that are packed in like this plastic container here. The S runner here, I have to imagine, is part of the standard kit, because it's just some hand parts there: closed fist, pointing hands, resting hands, open expressive hands, holding hands. Runner R, however, here is definitely parts for the DX set. I can tell that right away. So there you go, those are in gold. Alright, taking a look at some of these small bits here. First, you have a couple of screws, nuts, magnet here for stuff you'll need, I guess, for the assembly, of course. Our face option parts with the painting, the printing on these looking really nice. Like I said, I really like the kind of character design for these. So not all of these you'll get with the standard version. I think with the standard version you get 2 or 3. I'll have that corrected on the screen for you guys, but these are all 5 you get with this version. Here's the pre-printed parts there for the hips, that gold printed on the skin tone parts there, and for the chest, that blue printed on the skin tone parts there. For the DX version, there's your option parts for the chest, as well as the LED unit for in the head of the mummy guy. We have some more hand parts here, which are interestingly marked DX01 for that one. This part we're not going to use for this kit. DX02 down here for the peace sign hands, DX03 for these kind of rock hands, whatever, and then DX04 with these, which this is obviously not the fourth kit in the line, but those are on here as well. Also in our skin tone color here for the kit, we've got J001 for just a bunch of joint parts. We got our base parts here in clear, and we've got basically two base sets here for this. So there's like one runner right here, which is like the main plate and a couple of connection bits. And you have that other runner, which is all the little connection arm bits and everything. So we got lots of option parts there for the base. Runners A, B, and C are going to be a bunch of our skin tone parts for the kit. So obviously she's got a little bit more tan bronze colored skin tone with this one, which is nice to see, a little bit of variety for once. Runner D is some leg parts there in gold, it looks like. Runner E is back to some more parts for the leg, it looks like mostly here in skin tone again. Runner F are going to be some parts here in molded gold, which looks pretty nice for all these parts, including like her staff weapon, this little kind of mummy guy there. A couple of more parts here in gold for her dressing around here on runner G. Runner H is going to be our hair parts for the kit in this dark navy, kind of almost black kind of color here. Runner E1 is just these couple little parts here in gold, looks like maybe for the feet, I think. Runner I we have two of, because the clear version of this I believe is the DX exclusive version. The solid color version is just going to be the standard one if I remember correctly. So these are just some parts that go around on the body. You got that in two different colors there. Runner J is some clear parts for the back, like for mounting the parts onto her back and things like that. Runner K here, pretty large runner, is getting into some of the parts for the mummy. And you've got this in kind of orangish yellow kind of color. It's not gold like some of the other runners. Runner L we have two of, and runner M as well are all going to be in this very dark gray for some different kind of joint parts. Runner N is in that teal blue color like we saw on runner I. Runner O is some more parts here in that orangish yellow. Runner P and P1 are going to be our face mask parts here for the mummy guy. This would be the standard version, I guess, and runner P1 would be our DX faces for that. And lastly, the same thing here for runner Q. Q would be your face parts for the regular version. Q1 gives you a couple more of those for the DX version. Alright guys, here is the kit all built up. Now this is obviously just the main body, and that's where we're going to focus on here just for the moment first, and then we'll get into all the accessories and all the different stuff that you can do with this kit, because there's quite a lot. Now if you were just getting the standard version, definitely much less that you can do with it here, but with the DX version there's a lot, so let's go ahead and get right into it. As for the main body itself, all the articulation is going to be pretty standard if you guys build any Mecha Musume kits. These bracelets around the ankles and around the wrists are just loose fitting on there, and I did go with the clear parts for those. With this being the DX set, as you guys saw in the unboxing portion, we have the same runner for like the blue parts in either blue or clear blue, so I did like a mix. Anything that was like kind of seemed like clothing or something, I just kept in the solid blue like these parts here, and then the kind of jewelry parts like this jewel there in her chest, these jewels here on the feet, and then the bracelets and all that. I opted for the clear parts, but you can do either vice versa. So you could like repaint these if you wanted to repaint them in gold or something like that to just have more gold on her. Same thing goes with the horns on the head. You've got those in either solid or clear. I went with clear just because I thought that looked a bit more cool. And on that note, we have the option for these forward down pointed horns like that as another option here for the hair. Or if you didn't want any horns at all, you can just swap it out for this part here, which would just give you just the hair without any horns. Got a bunch of different hand options aside from closed fists, open expressive hands, holding hands, peace sign hands, kind of rock hands, all your standard stuff, also including hands here to make a heart with the two hands there like that. For the legs, you have an option to have just the bare legs without this gold part here on the lower leg if you wanted, so you can just swap that out easily enough. I also have this clear part here for the face, which should basically fit on there, but I'm not sure how tightly that's going to fit on there. So basically you can just fit it over the face, and once you put the bangs on, that's meant to just hold it in place with the bangs, like the front of the hair. And yeah, honestly it works pretty well. I'm actually surprised at how well that's in there, and I'm sure if you shook this around a lot or touched it too much, that might fall out there because it's not held in there super tightly, but honestly it works pretty well. It looks good. And then of course for the DX version we have alternate breast parts, so you can just pop those off like that, as odd as it may seem. And one option is like this, and you can position her hands in a way to make it look like she is like holding up the cloth there, which on the normal version is just kind of, you know, strapped across the front, but you can just make it look like just holding it like so, and I'll show that to you guys in like a proper pose here in a minute. Or alternatively, if you wanted to opt for no cloth on the chest at all, you can opt for these option parts here. And then on that note, getting into some of our other option parts here for the front of her kind of dress part here, this part like that, you can swap that out with this piece. And then you have a few different of these kind of like wearable pieces. This is a soft rubber piece that will fit around the hip section. Now, basically, you can either use this option or this option at the kind of base, as it were. And then this option here on the front, like so. Or this one, if you really wanted to. And also, if you want to just omit the middle section, you can do that. And just have it just like that if you want to. So you've got some options there, and all of those pieces can fit here on the front of this guy as well. Fixed on there, you can have him doing one of these, something like that. But all right, anyway, so that's all I'm gonna show of those parts for this review. But here's our Robo Mummy, which is pretty cool. The front parts here can move up and down a little bit. The arms, you have a few points of articulation here in those for posability with the arms. You have a few points of posability here with the fingers. Each finger basically is attached onto a ball joint and then has 2 articulation points in it, and the hand keeps wanting to kind of pop out of there. And I just didn't have it pushed in there all the way. Okay, anyway, so you have some nice articulation here in these large hands. And also his kind of tail, I guess, as it were, you can move that a little bit back and forth here as well. The back part kind of opens up like that, which I think is more so for the transformation of this guy, which we'll get into. I'll show that to you guys here in just a minute, but basically it transforms into like this big like cross obelisk sort of looking shape. I believe that might be the right word, probably not. But the other thing that you can do with this, with her main weapon here, which is certainly missing a lot of colors, it's cool in its design and details and everything, but it should be a lot more colorful, just looking at like the official artwork for it. These little things here on the top will fold down like that, but fold it out, and inside here there's a magnet, and that reacts with the LED unit here in the head. The batteries are in there too. If you just tap this guy on the head with that, it turns the LED on in the head. Tap it again to turn it off, on, off. There you go, pretty cool gimmick. You don't have to worry about any buttons or anything, so that's pretty awesome. Then we do also have a bunch of different face option parts here for this guy. This option, which, I mean, some of the differences is gonna be kind of a little bit hard to tell. This one looks like a kind of slightly different face, I guess. Also, the fact they're white kind of makes it harder to see, but this one here with the tongue out to the side, this one with just kind of an open mouth, and this one pulling like a kissing face, which is pretty comical. And then we've got the stand, and you actually have enough parts to make 2 of these. So if you wanted to have like 2, one for the girl, one for the Robo Mummy, you could do that as well. And there's also options to either use the screws in here or just plastic pegs. I figured the screws would give us more stability, which I thought is probably the better way to go, but that looks pretty nice. And then you have a couple of these kind of display parts here too, which will plug into our back for the different forms, different options that you can do with how you want to display the set. So anyway, guys, aside from all of that, of course, we do have some different face options. And as we're checking out a few different poses here, you guys can see some of the different things that you can do with this set. But like I said before, with this being the DX set and including the Robo Mummy there and more accessories, there's a lot that you can do with this. So I would say definitely, if you're wanting to pick up this kit and you're not sure which version to get, I would say definitely go for the DX version. Even if you don't care about, obviously, kind of the main thing with the DX set that a lot of people are going to want is the lewd parts. But even if you don't care about the lewd parts at all, there's just so many more accessories, just more stuff. You know, lewd parts aside, just other stuff included with this set. If there's one thing that I think the DX set, it would have been nice if the DX set would have included as well, would have been like an additional weapon of some sort, maybe like a sword weapon or something like that to be included in there as well. It wouldn't have needed to have like a whole bunch of plastic, maybe just like 1 or 2 additional pieces added onto one of the runners to just give us some sort of added weapon, maybe like a set of daggers or something like that. I think probably would have fit the look of this kit probably pretty well. Although it does kind of seem like with this kit, it's not necessarily a weaponry focused design, sort of like a magic kind of mage sort of type of character design. So maybe not the type of character design that, you know, having a bunch of different weapons or things like that would have necessarily fit. I mean, but just for me personally, I don't know, maybe that would have been cool. Otherwise, it comes with basically everything that you could possibly want for it. Lots of great accessories to choose from, so plenty of different ways to display the kit. And as you guys can see here, I'm only showing you a few different poses, but there's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do with this set, so very cool. The kit overall is missing a lot of little color apps, and we saw that you have water slide decals for making those up, but you could just opt to just hand paint those in. If you got some paints, basically you just need like black and like kind of a teal blue and like a teal green kind of color. And most of the missing colors, if you really wanted to make it more color accurate, it could be pretty easy to just paint back into it. But overall, quite satisfied with this kit, and I feel like there has been a steady increase from the first and second, and now with this being the third release in this line, there has been a steady increase in terms of just like the overall quality of the kits, definitely. So I know the next release in the Dark Advent line is basically sort of like a rehash, re-release of the first kit in the line, which is not necessarily all that exciting, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the full-on fourth kit in the line is going to be. Hopefully sometime next year, I guess we'll see what that's going to be. And also hopefully that one doesn't end up getting delayed as much as this one did. Was this worth the wait for the very long delay for this? I mean, yeah, there was definitely plenty of stuff that came out in the meantime to keep us busy, so it wasn't that bad, but I was definitely looking forward to this one for a long time, and I'm definitely very happy with it. But let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below, and of course if you guys are interested in checking out this kit for yourself, got it here at USA Gundam Store. The link will be down in the video description below, both the standard version and the DX version, so depending on what you guys are looking for, you can check that out, and many more Mecha Musume kits available there at USA Gundam Store, so check the link down in the video description. Thank you guys all for checking out the video here today. If you'd also like to like and or subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated as well. But until next time guys, hope y'all are having a great day. I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.